Welcome, data enthusiasts. We are Zuma, the recruitment consultancy focused 100% on data tech professionals in the Berlin region. And this is our podcast, Data for Good, connecting you with all things data. And today, helping us make that connection is Vladimir Lagutinskiy. And Vladimir is head of BI at FORMEL Skin. FORMEL Skin in Berlin is the online medical care provider specific to Berlin and skincare. Whew. Vladimir, so today's topic, I understand, and this will be really helpful for me actually, being a data recruiter, but I think also for data professionals joining a new business and businesses wanting to start their first endeavors into data. So to sum, the title of today's conversation is A Startup's First Investments into Data. Great. Perhaps you can give us some context. Yeah, why is this important to you and what can we gain from it?
This topic is quite important because in Berlin there are lots of small startups, and in general, all startups are pretty data-driven. And right now, if you try to explore what options you have, there are a lot of great tools, a lot of great people who can build like everything for you and build like truly data-driven company. But on the other hand, like working for startup or running startup, it means always you have to be pretty careful in terms of investment and in terms of right choices for your data team, especially for many businesses. There is no direct revenue or direct impact from data. Basically, you cannot sell data. And in that case, you should be even more careful with all your investments.
There's no instruction manual. There's no specific best practice to building a data team. And given how fast the data ecosystem is changing these days, is evolving these days, it's hard to find, let alone follow the best practices for building a data team from scratch. And I think also for data leaders, as well as data professionals, the sky's the limit, but it's really overwhelming as well if they are to come in and to build something new. You know, lots of questions like, who do you hire first? What tools should you invest in? What KPIs should the team or contributor be focusing on? So hopefully we cover some of those areas today as well.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool. Okay, so let's start with right at the top. What questions should a CEO or founder first ask before they make that investment?
Yeah, before I'll answer this question, I also want to mention that everything that we will be talking about is based on my experience, working for startup companies, based on my experience working for scale-ups. Yeah, and the answer to this question, there is no right or wrong answer to this question, but in general, the situation will be different for example, AI startups. If you like data is part of your business, you probably don't need to listen to me. But on the other hand, if you run some like more traditional business, I don't know, e-commerce or something like that, probably, hopefully, there will be some interesting information for you to think about. And in terms of questions, founders of the business or like a person who supposed to be responsible for data before the first data person will be hired is should, from my perspective, should answer like at least three questions. First question is about metrics, like success metric. In general, you don't need to go deep and try to build metrics tree or hierarchy or something like that. You need to choose a couple of metrics that's important for you, for your business, and also that probably you committed to investors or something like that, something that you can look at and tell that, okay, it's everything is good with my business, everything is doing great. Speaking about metrics, probably you already have those metrics in some tools that you're already using. For example, if you're e-commerce business, probably use Shopify, or like, I don't know, you can also use Google Analytics or something like that. If you already have these metrics in those tools, probably you don't need to do in this moment something extra. Probably there is meaningful data for you to run your business. But if you see some issues here, it's basically the next question. If you see some issues, what are the issues? Maybe there are too much data for like your Google Sheet or Excel to handle. I don't know, like you have tens of like or hundreds of thousands orders per month, and it's like Excel sheet has like pretty bad time trying to process this data. Or maybe another issue, data comes from different sources. I know, from Google Analytics, from like your CRM system, from whatever sources. And in that case, person who right now doing like this combination of data in Excel or in Google Sheet, probably this person also has really a hard time trying to like this person spends several hours per day to kind of combine all this data. In that case, definitely there should be some automation in terms of like, make the life of this person easily. And the last question that also I think pretty important, as I said in the beginning, data in many cases is about investments, and you should roughly understand the budget of all this, like budget that you can invest in hiring or in purchasing tools or something like that. But yeah, you definitely should have at least rough estimation of potential amount of money that you can invest. Yeah, those three topics, I think it's those three questions, I think it's good to start before you move any further. If you don't have any problems, probably you can stop here. If you have problems and you know that, okay, I'm ready to invest this amount of money, that you can move forward.
Yeah, well, I took from that, that's critical, right? Having the funds and understanding how much it's going to cost to invest, whether you're doing this with internal resources or you're investing in a service provider to implement data practices for you. So finance is one thing, but I also took what you said about making sure that data is organized, not just reorganizing and getting off your Excel spreadsheet or your Google Sheets, but the whole data sources, understanding where the data is coming from and organizing that data and automating it so that whoever is managing it is able to do so effectively, practically, and quickly, so that they can manage other more complex tasks.
Yes.
Okay. What assessments should founders make about the data that they consume?
Here, I think also we should discuss a couple of topics. First, and I think the most important one, is to understand what state of the company you have right now. If your company is growing and your main focus is user acquisition, probably the focus of your data team will be marketing. If you already have customer base and for you the main pain point is like customer retention, probably in that case you will spend less time, like your data team will spend less time on marketing analytics and more, for example, on retention analysis. Because when we move forward and we will discuss like people and skills that we need in the data team, definitely we should understand the state of the company. Another thing also really important is trying to find the people in the company with some of data skills, some of data analytics skills. For example, they might be, I don't know, like people who worked for marketing department, and they also know like SQL. They are able to visualize some, I don't know, graphs, some data. They are able to answer random questions about, you know, metrics behavior and something like that. I'm right now I'm describing the situation in FORMEL Skin. We are lucky that we have people with these skills in the business departments, and it's really helpful to have those people with that skill set in the company, because in that case there will be the main stakeholders and the main consumers of everything that data team will produce, and they will really help in terms of I don't know, capacity of future data team, because they are able to get some insights from data by themselves. And it's like really as a founder, you're really lucky to have those people in the company.
So it's a bit of a current state analysis on the people resources in your organization. And an example you gave is of, and quite typically, marketing professionals who are doing a lot of analyses as to sales, ROI on various different campaigns. What other areas of the business might have strong data analytical awareness, or even be consuming and using data?
I think the next at least two other departments of the company, two other teams, definitely it's product team, because usually they are not able to run product and implement any new features that based on only gut feelings. They need to kind of confirm the hypothesis somehow. And in that case, usually the initiative to implement some product analytics tools usually comes from product teams, like, I don't know, like Amplitude or Mixpanel or other tools that usually product people really like to work with. Another thing, it's everything related to, I don't know, sales or like business development. They also, because they kind of the foundation of their work is kind of, it's data. It's everything about sales, everything about customers, and usually they are pretty professional in terms of, I don't know, Excel skills, and in some cases maybe like reporting, using some CRM tools and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely it's not impossible to find people with data analytics skills in those departments.
So they'd be kind of key users or super users as well, I imagine. I think finance is another area that's going to be strong in.
For finance is also a great example, especially when your future data team will be able to provide some data for finance, because in many cases it's not possible, because the quality of data that comes from backends and quality of data that kind of comes from invoices usually it's like different data quality. But in general, finance also should be like one of the stakeholders and one of the power users of data.
Yeah, I should imagine they have a focus on data accuracy and data governance, given their position as well. So they'd be good people to hold to account for compliance and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So my question was, what assessments should founders make about the data they consume? And we've talked about what the company's state and focus is, and we've talked about finding people in the organization who relate to data, use data, and maybe do some analyses and reporting on a regular. Are there any other areas?
I think the next step that you can do, it's a little bit, it's kind of the next step after this assessment, and there is a pretty common topic: buy versus build. Yeah, it's the question the question that you need to answer. Do you want to invest money in the tools, because there are some tools in the market that perfectly fits your requirements, your needs, or there are no tools that can help you with your kind of data tasks, and in that case you have to build something internally, and in that case definitely you need to hire someone. So based on my experience, from if you see some tools in the market that's good for your budget and good for your requirements, probably it's better to just, I don't know, just buy tools and kind of outsource everything related to maintenance, everything related to I don't know, adding new features, or like building kind of foundation or base. It's better to outsource it to like these third-party tools. But unfortunately, it's not the case. It's not always the case. In many cases, you have pretty specific business model or pretty specific business processes, and some like specific metrics that you want to have in your data environment, data infrastructure. In that case, there is no other choice to go for hiring and for building the team and tools. But another thing that I also wanted to mention, it's in terms of open source tools, because there are plenty of open source tools that in many cases you can use for free in the market, and sometimes the default answer to this question, should I buy pretty expensive tool or should I go for free open source tool? In many cases, to answer this question, you also need to remember that there is always cost of maintenance and always cost of installation or setup of these like open source tools. If you have people in the company who are able to do that, you're lucky. You can go for like free tools, and in that case, everything should be fine. But if there is like decision between buying third-party expensive tool or hiring people to install, hiring like a data engineer or like DevOps engineer to install, to set up, to do all integration, in that case, probably you need to compare your cost in first option and the second option. In many cases, might be open source tools might be a little bit more expensive with salaries.
Interesting. That whole buy versus build topic, we could probably spend a whole other podcast conversation on, because it's a huge investment in itself. I would have thought that even the open source tools these days are fairly plug and play. Should I disregard that? And founders, business owners should be more mindful that some of these open source products, they take a lot to set up and a lot to maintain.
It's a really good question. Probably the answer in this like open source environment, there are some solid tools that have been with us like for years. And in that case, they're pretty pretty robust products with pretty big community. In that case, you can expect that maybe like minimum effort from your future data team is needed to install it, to do like first setup, and then it should be it. In some cases, those like old like well-built tools, they're not for you. They're not able to cover all your needs, and and maybe you need to go a little bit more specific and find some modern tools that offer solution for all problems, but probably they're not really great in solving your problems, or probably there are some, I don't know, like some issues with implementation of something that's specific that is needed in your company. At FORMEL Skin, I think before we ended up with our current infrastructure, we had to change, like we had to rebuild infrastructure several times, because there was like better product that offered like exact solution for our problems, but then we have some issues with maintenance, or we have some like availability issues or data quality issues, and in that case we were not able to solve this problem, except the fact that we could switch to more kind of well-built older tools.
So there's a lot of evaluation that needs to be done there with respect to the age and stability and complexity of products already out in the market. So it seems to me that going with older products that are tried and trusted, if they serve the needs, would be the safest, most pragmatic and practical way to go. I want to now move on to the idea of people resource. Data, ML, AI, we're moving in the direction of everything being automated, but it's critical that we have data professionals in the team. And it's important for me, being a data recruiter, that I understand what's needed for businesses. So it's often said that businesses make the mistake of investing in all the funky data science and analytics tools first, when they should invest in the infrastructure first. So if we look at that, if a company first invests in a data engineer, what will that engineer do for a startup or a business first investing in data?
Before I'll answer this question, I want to emphasize that like couple of questions ago, we discussed that founder, or like people who are responsible right now, he or she needs to figure out if there are people with data analytics skills in the company. If you have those people, you definitely can go for data engineer, because you already have data consumption part, and you need data preparation part to be covered. In that case, data engineer is a perfect investment, because this person will be able to kind of build all pipelines, infrastructure, prepare data to be analyzed by stakeholders or power users. But there might be cases that there are no people with data analytics skills in the company. In that case, going for data engineer maybe not the right choice. You need to hire data analyst as a first person, because the result of data engineering is like data warehouse, infrastructure, tables with data. But if there are no people in the company who can consume it, who can make this data available for making decisions, business decisions, in that case, it's like data warehouse is useless. There is the kind of default answer to the question, should I hire data engineer, or should I hire data analyst or data scientist? The default answer to this question, you should hire data engineer, and he or she prepare like all infrastructure for you, and you will be happy using this data. But yeah, again, there is like small nuance that you have to make sure that there are people who can consume this data. But beside of that, if you talk about a role of data engineer in startups or like in bigger companies, I don't think there's too much difference in terms of responsibilities. probably there will be more focus on infrastructure, because obviously you don't have data platform team, or you don't have like DevOps team, something like that. All like maintenance of infrastructure is like you're responsible as a data engineer. Another probably difference will be that working for startup, you always have to think about one pretty simple idea. Our product like is changing all the time. We have tons of hypotheses. We have tons of initiatives. And in that case, if you are trying to build robust pipelines for that will be perfect for the next 10 years, probably it's not the case. I'm pretty sure all your pipelines, all your brilliant data modeling will be deprecated in like next several months, or maybe 1 year, 2 years, or something like that. In that case, trying to do the best in terms of data pipelines and data modeling, it's always great. But if you try to compare how much time you need to spend on building perfect data infrastructure and data model, or get some results to the business quickly, probably you should be more focused on like business results than robust infrastructure and data models.
And also focusing on business results keeps your eye on the evolution of your product.
Yes.
So it's kind of like the default in terms of the way you approach data engineering.
Mm-hmm. Also, maybe another thing to mention, in case of lack of data analytics skills in the company, probably sometimes you as a data engineer will be reached out by business guys to, hey, can you do this like quick analysis for us? Usually it's not the case for bigger company when like you have dedicated data analytics team or data engineering team. But yeah, it's definitely you as a data engineer, startup data engineer, should be prepared that sometimes you have to go further than just data engineering responsibilities.
Not jack of all trades, but wear many hats. Keep an open mind to helping the business with areas of analysis or reporting, because although you're maintaining, setting up, and upholding the integrity of the data infrastructure, business stakeholders are going to be coming to you and asking to put that into use if there's nobody already able to do it, like the marketing professional, the sales professional, the finance professional. Is there any other area of that? If a business is to invest in data engineer, what are they going to be doing?
Yeah, as I said, I don't think there are too much difference in terms of like skills of data engineer. Also, probably data engineers with some specific technologies, like I don't know, Spark or like Java data engineers or something like that. Probably it's also not the case for startup companies, because usually there is no need for small startup companies to run pretty big I don't know, scalable infrastructure like Spark.
You mean like Java-based environments?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think yeah, in case of startup, the kind of the tool set mainly boils down to Python, SQL, something like that. Is like, yeah.
If they are to go in the other direction, they invest in a data analyst first. In fact, let's go back. I missed the question, didn't I? You highlighted that. The question should have been, should a business invest in an engineer or an analyst first? I made an assumption based on what I have seen in the market. So looking at that question, when should a business invest in a data analyst?
If you already have some data and you, or like and you have some difficulties with like preparation data, cleaning data, or something like that, you already have some metrics and data sources. Definitely, in that case, you need to hire data engineer. If you don't have like anything, you need to figure out your metrics. You need to kind of figure out definition of your revenue, or like your active customer or something like that. And you don't have like any opportunity and people to do this like basic metrics calculation. And also, if your questions, it's not about I need like revenue reporting every day, but also the question, oh, I see like revenue drop like last week. What's happened? If there is something in the company who can explain me based on data, hopefully based on data. If you have as a founder, you have like too many questions like that, some like absence of basic metrics, basic data, and you don't know how to do that, and you have tons of random questions in terms of metrics behavior, customer behavior, and something like that. In that case, you need a person who can get value from data you have. In that case, data analyst will be the better investment from my experience.
Okay, good to know. And a data analyst not only brings that technical skill set in terms of how to understand and use data, but also the commercial mindset. They understand how a business operates. They understand how to interact commercially with various parts of the business. Now, again, they are huge topics to cover: when to invest in an engineer, when to invest in an analyst. Mm-hmm. If we've got beyond those questions now, mm-hmm. how about people and culture and education of the business? It's a brave new step that the business is taking in investing in data for the first time. So the people in the business are critical. So what should be the considerations there?
Being small startup, you always have to remember that like even if you are lucky and you have budget and everything is great, your data team will probably be small. Probably it will be like just few of people. And on the other hand, since your business model, your products is involving, and there are a lot of hypotheses, there always be some questions, some requests to your data team. And in that case, there is no way for data team to survive without building kind of skills and culture in the company, in order to stakeholders are able to analyze, are able to do some analysis and get some insights from data by themselves. If like all requests about hey, I need yesterday's revenue will finally goes to data team, in that case probably data team will always be like answering these like small questions, and there always be people like who have to wait for answers, and it will kind of slow down your business, your growth. In that case, it's like really crucial for you as a founder to build this culture. Okay, we have our data team, like data analysts, data engineers. They did great job. They prepared some data. They created some like basic reports, like main reports about our main KPIs. But if you need to go further, first of all, you have to try to do analysis by himself, or like by yourself. And data team should be ready to help you in terms of, I don't know, building tools, giving access, preparing sandboxes for you to run your query, or like giving like buying licenses for your BI tool for you to be able to create your own visualizations or change existing visualizations, something like that. Because based on experience, the number of requests will be always higher than capacity of BI team. There is no way to solve this equation.
So that's something. The number of requests is always higher than their ability to deliver it. But also a complaint of analysts quite often is that the request that they deliver to, that information is often not used. So it strikes me that there's a breakdown in communication or relationship there. So I'm really curious to know how the business leaders should socially introduce this idea of a data team being strategic rather than ad hoc and transactional to the business.
Yeah, this is a really good question. Basically, I think there should be, first of all, there should be a strong support from top management, from leadership team, that people in the company should gain the knowledge in terms of data analysis. Another important thing to prevent this situation, like request answer, it should be when stakeholders ask data team to, for example, create report. Good if you have like description, what reports or what metrics, what structure visualization you need, but it's better to have also explanation why, what business problems are you going to solve using this report or this like ad hoc analysis, because in that case data analysts can help you, I don't know, maybe with better solution than this report. Another thing, it's in terms of capacity and priority of the task that also should come from kind of leadership team, like from top management. It's always nice to give data teams opportunities, some space to build the tools, build like data sources, build I don't know, like tables for analysis, and also have time to teach people how to use data. In some cases, it may be like even writing some documentation, how to use it, run some sessions. Okay, we have new data sources here. Here's like the steps that you need to perform in order to get some insights and stuff like that. Usually, these topics, they are not important for stakeholders, for top management, because there are like numbers of requests in the queue. But yeah, only you as a stakeholder, as a top manager can kind of prioritize this sharing knowledge, sharing skills, sharing information about data. Only you can prioritize it and make it possible.
Yeah. What should be the key takeaways here for business owners or business leaders or founders investing in, excuse me, in data for the first time?
I think as a summary, I can give you like maybe like three main outcomes. First of all, try to keep it simple. Basically, if you don't have like some known issues right now, you have all metrics that you need, probably it's not like right time to start your data journey. Another thing, like be realistic in terms of your expectations. Data quality will not be perfect, like 100% perfect, because like your business is growing, like product is changing and everything like that. It's affected all data infrastructure, pipeline, algorithms, metrics definition, and so on and so forth. There always will be some changes that data team needs to do, and for it's like kind of piece of advice for founders and for people who are data professionals who want to work for startup. Probably the one of the thing that I also want to mention is that don't try to build like pipelines or like reports or something for like years. because all of them will be deprecated in the near future. Try to solve business problem quickly, and always think that maybe like spending another 2 months on kind of building perfect pipeline, or like paying 1% more to cloud provider. Probably the second option might be more efficient than spending too much time on and doing things perfectly.
This is great. Keep it simple. Be realistic with your expectations. And I've put here, focus on the problem, the business problem, not the future pipeline. Of course, build things that are going to be robust and stand the test of time, but build things that are built to help the business with real problems right now. Great. Vladimir, thanks so much for sharing all of this wisdom with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was really a pleasure to talking to you and sharing the knowledge.